Happy 2024, boys and girls, and welcome back to the Carla and Crappy Show. I'm your Uncle Crappy. I'd rather talk about the possibilities of a San Francisco 49ers Cleveland Browns Super Bowl than I would college football at this point. But we talk about college football on this show. So Carla,
we do.
You may feel the same. Yes. I'm not sure.
Well, I did wear black today. I am in mourning.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm just not quite ready for, like, this was such a weird season and so much fun the whole way through that, like, I'm not ready for it to be over. But here we are. We got, just this weekend left, and then we're relegated to hockey and college basketball, which, not bad. And I got to watch the Penn's game last night. We're recording this on Friday. The Penn's game was on national television last night, so I got to watch part of the Penn's game. And I was like, okay, maybe I am ready for hockey season. I don't know. It's not the same.
I tried college basketball a couple different nights this week. Yeah, it was okay. I mean, UNC Pitt was a decent game. UNC pulled away at the end. Yeah. Tried to watch a little bit Ohio State basketball. I'm not ready for that yet. I learned maybe college hockey. Maybe that is the answer.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We've got, I don't know.
Try Big East basketball. That tends to be a little bit more entertaining. I don't know why, but like the Big East is just like stupid fun at basketball.
Okay. And also hockey-esque, as if I recall. Big East basketball it was a bit more physical. I need to watch some, and I don't know the name of the league. The new professional women's hockey league. That is
the NWSL. Mm-hmm.
That is a thing that you might want to do that as well. But we have football to talk about. Before we do that, we have the fun of Bowlapalooza and the bowl games that were associated with it. We have a recap of our personal bowl games, which nightmare fuel, and then we have the national championship game, also, which could be nightmare fuel for both of us. But we'll get to that point in a moment. But did you get to see the guys eating the Pop-Tart at some point?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, I went back and watched that. I didn't see it live, but it was hard not to. At least everybody was sharing it.
Yes.
And all of the memes, like I am here. I teach in interactive media, right? Like, so like I'm prepping my social media class for the spring right now. Like, give me all of the Pop-Tarts memes. The word for the year so far in 2024 is unhinged. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what everybody's talking about. Yes. It's like, what's going to be the unhinged moment, referring back to the Pop-Tart. And I love the fact that the same brand, right? So Cheez-Its and Pop-Tarts owned by the same company, right? They're all Nabisco brands. The Cheez-It, when it came out for the Citrus Bowl, held a sign up that said definitely not edible.
Yes. I saw that.
And I love the whole synergy of the whole thing. I know synergy is a terrible word, but I love the way that they all played off each other. It was just fantastic all the way around.
There was social media sparring, in fact, between Cheez-It and Pop-Tarts, or at least on the part of Cheez-It, which I thought was funny. That might make for an interesting day in the office if the social teams for the two brands are like in the same suite or something. I don't know.
Well, and then the Pop-Tarts Bowl did a shout out, a kind of a diss to the Mayo Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which I also thought was like on point. Like that was basically just beautiful all the way around.
What needs to happen is that all bowl games need to be sponsored by a food that can be eaten or dumped over somebody. French fries, mayo. Do they actually dump Cheez-Its in that game, whichever game that it is now?
They did. There were Cheez-Its in one of the okay. It wasn't like the big ceremony thing, but there were Cheez-Its in the Gatorade jug.
Yeah, see, that's this needs to happen just with every bowl game. I firmly believe this. Mrs. Crappy and I were talking about that as we watched the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Which was a fantastic game too.
It was a fantastic game. Many of the games that we picked for Bowlapalooza, they weren't all sponsored by food, but we had the Mayo Bowl, we had the Pop-Tart Bowl, we had the Avocado Bowl, as Avocado would tell you.
Yes.
As far as the actual games went, Bowlapalooza came down to one game and two people. And I want to thank AJ for tracking this to the degree that he did. I have the stuff written down. I just hadn't. It's just there. If you can see it, if you're watching the video, it's kind of a mess, and I hadn't even done anything with it. Wasn't going to for probably until before this show. But AJ figured out Kelly Krieg and me, and the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl between Oregon State and Notre Dame is where this came down. That interestingly was the game where that split us the most.
Mm-hmm.
4 of us picked Notre Dame, 4 of us picked Oregon State. Kelly took the Beavers, I took the Irish. If Oregon State had won, and I misstated this on Threads, if Oregon State had won, Kelly and I would have tied and would have come to our tiebreakers, which for me was Washington, for her was Michigan. That would have worked out well.
Yeah.
Notre Dame won, which means I just had just one incorrect pick. In fact, all of us picked the except for Avocado, who, as Kelly's son Aiden will forever be known after this year's Bowlapalooza. Avocado was the only one who picked Coastal to win the Hawaii Bowl. All the rest of us picked San Jose State, and the rest of us were wrong. So Avocado, nice work out of you. But I had just the one incorrect pick, and I have the 2023 Bowlapalooza title.
Yay!
Thank you. Standings were me. There was a 4-way tie. Jake, Gabby, Braden, and Kelly at 5 correct wins. Carla, you came in with 4. Avocado had 3, so not last place, Aiden. That's fine. And AJ with 2 correct picks, rounded us out in the bat. Carla, do you know who Tom Gorzolani is?
Oh gosh, I recognize the name, and it's just like not connecting.
I didn't know, but he apparently was a Pittsburgh Pirate during the 2008 season, and he is now forever enshrined as the trophy. And you guys, I'll post a picture on this. This might be the thumbnail for this week's show. But his bobblehead is now the 2023 Bowlapalooza trophy now and forever. So congratulations, Tom Gorzolani. We hope you're doing well wherever you are. I don't know where that is.
It's also worth noting that you got a second delivery of a not trophy but a prize.
That's correct. That is correct.
Yes, that the AJ posted in our show thread, which none of you have the lovely privilege of seeing because it's a little bit off the rails. Not going to lie, but he hand delivered. What did you receive at your doorstep?
A double size box of brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts. which I will go through.
That was the appropriate prize.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was. And I will probably go through that box. I'll probably be finished with this box by the time the month is done. I'm
Nice.
dedicated. I found a new flavor. I found Boston cream donut Pop-Tarts.
Ooh.
And they're really good. They're really good. We might
say that sounds delightful.
We might, if on the off chance that I remember this, next December, we might have to bring this up again, but we'll see how that goes. Because there's no way
my husband texted me yesterday or a couple days ago from work a picture of have you seen the mini Pop-Tarts?
Yes.
like the bite-sized Pop-Tarts. And he texted me and said, Pop-Tarts bowl confetti. Which I thought was a funny comment.
Those
and
out of a confetti gun. That would be spectacular.
That would be spectacular. Like, forget the hot dog gun. Like, let's do Pop-Tarts confetti, please.
I like it.
Next year, Pop-Tarts bowl.
Give
us a call. We're in.
Of course, your team and my team both played in New Year's Six bowls. We picked these games last weekend. You picked one of them correctly. Although I would doubt that the game kind of went as you thought it might, because it didn't go the way anyone thought it would. We both have uncomfortable game recaps to do here. Would you like to go first? You want me to? I don't. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I can go first because because as I mentioned, like, the time of the Peach Bowl sucked, right?
Yes, it did.
Particularly for us here being at noon Eastern, so 11 a.m. kick on a Saturday. And when you have a toddler, you're not going to get to watch that game live, right? And so my analysis of the game is probably skewed a bit because I didn't watch it from start to finish, right? I recorded the game, and I've watched it in like bite-sized pieces over the last several days. And so maybe that skews. And I knew the result. Like, I was tracking the score because I couldn't not know the score. Right. So I was tracking the score. So I knew that Penn State lost before I sat down and watched the game. What annoys me about kind of the overall framing of the way that game went, at least from what I've seen on a national level, is that, like, for the first 3.5 quarters, it felt like, or 2.5 quarters, excuse me, because the midway point of the third quarter is kind of where the wheels fell off.
Yeah.
Like, for the first 2.5 quarters of that game, Penn State was in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, that game was back and forth. It was a good game. Yeah, we were there. Penn State defense was getting beat, which is something that we're just not used to, right? But Penn State was in that game, so I am really tired of reading the Ole Miss routed Penn State. I'm sorry, that wasn't a rout. If you want a rout, go look at the other New Year's Six bowl games, right? Go look at Georgia, go look at Oregon. Those were routes.
There were a couple routes in there, yes.
Yeah. This was not a rout. This was what ended up being like just a ridiculous amount of offense from both of these teams. Penn State put up over 500 yards of offense. When was the last time we said that? That is insane. But you can't give up 540, right? And we knew that was going to be the challenge going up against Ole Miss. We know this about Ole Miss. This is what they do, right? They put up a bunch of yards. Penn State made some uncharacteristic mistakes. I mean, I don't know what the lateral was when they were heading down in the third quarter. Like, that was dumb. And then that eventually stalled the drive, which led to the blocked field goal. And that's where the momentum swung at that point. But, like, Tyler Warren had a heck of a day. The little like center screen pass that worked all day for Penn State. Actually, worked all day for both teams, which was problematic. And it just I just don't know. Like, yes, Ole Miss won the game. Was it a lack of? Did we really miss Manny Diaz that much? Maybe. Maybe that was the difference here, because that defense just didn't look anything like we've seen all year, other than a little bit against when we played your Buckeyes, right? Like, the Penn State secondary didn't have an answer for Marvin Harrison. They obviously didn't have an answer all day for Quinshon Judkins or Caden Prescorn. And I mean, because they both just had spectacular days. And interestingly enough, now Quinshon Judkins is in the portal. So yeah. So who knows what Ole Miss is going to be next year? But, like, the problems that we saw from I was not disappointed in the Penn State offense. There were a couple of dumb plays. Aller threw a duck at one point that led to that interception. I don't know what that was.
I know the one you mean.
Like, I wasn't totally disappointed. Go ahead.
No, I know the one you mean, and that was a real head scratcher. It's like, did someone hit his arm? What happened with that?
Did he lose his grip? I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, is that he lost his grip. I didn't get a good view of that, but, like, I was actually okay with the way the Penn State offense played for the most part. It had a couple of miscues. but like the ground game looked good. Singleton had a couple good runs. Allen had a couple really nice runs, had some nice deep balls down the field. Like I said, Tyler Warren had himself a game. Like offense looked good. We have to fix the defense. And I can't believe I'm saying this about a Penn State team. We have to fix the defense because this is all going to change next year when we get Washington and Oregon.
Yeah.
And USC, right? This is the way Ole Miss's style of football is the way that those teams play.
Mm-hmm.
And with that coming into the conference next year, Penn State has to fix the defense, the defensive scheme, particularly against the pass. That's deep balls have been a problem for Penn State for a couple of years now, other than when they had Joey Porter. Mm-hmm. Joey Porter was like the shutdown guy, but like beyond that, we've not really had an answer for deep balls in the secondary. And those stupid center screens to tight ends, they just don't cover those well. They never have. So like, let's get that fixed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just kind of a disappointment on the, and like I said, maybe it's not impacting me as much because I watched it over the course of like 2.5 days, in short segments. But yeah, just a disappointing effort defensively. Had you been able to slow down Ole Miss at all, you would have won the game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So frustrating. I'm sure, but not quite as frustrating as probably what your bowl game was.
Frustrating. I actually I could say the same thing, just a different side of the ball. Ohio State's defense was lights out for 3 quarters, and you can see this coming if the offense can't hold on to the ball for a while. If anything but like a 3 and out, another 3 and out, the defense will stay fresh enough that against all odds, Ohio State would be in that game. And when it got to the fourth quarter, that's when it happened. And you knew that there was no chance. I was feeling pretty confident about the game, even with the slow start until Devin Brown hurt his ankle again. We get Lincoln Kienholz to lead the Buckeyes to glory. And I don't have any difficulty with Lincoln or anything the specific players did. He wasn't allowed to throw the ball. The head coach didn't let him do that. And in Ohio State, it's in the history. We know the blueprint for running an offense while protecting an experienced quarterback. Cardale Jones would tell you about that as he was winning his national championship. There's a thing on the about Ohio State's 2014 season it shows up on the Big Ten Network once in a while, and Urban talks about what they decided to do. They had a consistent running game, something that Ohio State could have had in the bowl game had it not been for the fact that they just weren't trying to throw the ball at all. But running the ball and then letting the quarterback throw deep to the outside, it limits the quarterback's exposure to interceptions. Deep balls, if there is a pick, okay, it's just like a punt. It's not the end of the world. And let your wide receivers go get it. And yeah, Marvin wasn't playing, but the receivers that Ohio State still has are very, very good. Among it's still the best receiver room in the country. And so, but we didn't do that. We did not, for whatever reason. Ryan Day did not allow that to happen. So we just kind of ran our heads against a brick wall and threw short passes and it got us absolutely nowhere. So by the time it got to 14-3, you knew the game was over. There's no offense. There's no way that Ohio State's going to come back and match Missouri, even with just that tiny 2-scored lead. As I look ahead, the quarterback situation in the fall will be better. We have a 5-star Air Noland coming to town, and we have K-State transfer Will Howard coming to town. And AJ pointed this out in our aforementioned text thread that it feels very much like a situation where Air Noland kind of gets eased in while you've got the experienced guy playing out his final year of eligibility. The other thing that needs to happen beyond the quarterback stuff. When, as I said, I think I'm comfortable with how that's looks like it's going to play out. Ryan Day, you need an offensive coordinator, okay? Whether it's Brian Hartline or someone from the outside, be a CEO, be the guy who is in charge of the big picture, be the guy who manages your coaches. Let someone else call the plays, please. We're tired of the namby-pamby play calling that happened in the Michigan game, and it happened in the bowl game when you had absolutely nothing to lose, absolutely not a thing to lose by letting. I assume a quarterback who's on scholarship at Ohio State is talented at some level. Let him throw the ball. But anyway, so yeah, frustrated is another word for what I'm experiencing, and you nailed you had that one nailed. Carla, there is one more game. It is on Monday. The broadcast will start at 7:30 p.m. Monday night. It is on the ESPN. It is on every single ESPN, I think, in one form or another. It is the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by Lilly and AT&T. I don't know if Lilly is actually part of the sponsorship package or not, but I imagine we will see her a lot. Number 2 Washington Huskies versus the number 1 Michigan Wolverines. Michigan is favored by 4.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is a respectable 56.5, although that seems low for a number with the Washington's offense is involved with. So maybe there's the Vegas is pretending something there that we should take into account. Carla, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, well, first of all, the 2 semifinals that we got were absolutely spectacular.
They were great games.
Two really, really great games. I'm trying to decide. I know a lot of people were saying that was probably the best 2 semifinals we've ever had. I don't know. Last year's were pretty good too. Mm-hmm. I think the last 2 years that we've gotten, the most dramatic semifinals, which has been which is why we love the game so much, right? Is when you have those really competitive games, especially when you don't have a dog in the fight. That's a lot more fun. And you're just watching it because of the game. Michigan and Alabama. Okay, so Bama had a chance to win the game, right? Bama was in the game the entire time, and we said this leading up into that semifinal, was that Michigan obviously was very capable of winning that game. And the one thing that I in particular was concerned about was I picked Bama, but I was concerned about Bama not beating itself. And yes, Michigan played really, really well. They held Jalen Milroe to just 116 yards passing. Yeah. That's absurd. That's a really good Michigan defense, right? JJ McCarthy was really smart with the football. Blake Corum didn't have 100 yards, but he had a solid day on the ground. It was exactly what we would have expected. But Bama also played a role here, right? I can't even count how many bad snaps they had.
A bunch.
And at inopportune times.
Yeah.
There's a time in the second half, Bama had a drive going and 2 consecutive bad snaps that Milroe just had to fall on, and suddenly it's like 3rd and 27, right? They shot themselves in the foot a number of times in this game. And the play call on 4th and 3 in overtime, I don't get it.
No.
I don't get it at all. If you're on the 1, maybe I get that. But when you haven't really had a ton of success running against that Michigan line and your season is on the line, why is that the play call? I don't understand that. I mean, this is the same team that gave us 4th and 31. Like, have 4th and 31 and 4th and 3 in the same year, just like that. That does not compute in my brain, right? So Michigan's defense is spectacular. Bama helped them in some instances. But when you look at a Michigan matchup versus a Washington matchup, and that final drive of the Sugar Bowl, I mean, how unfortunate would that have been had the injury to Johnson have caused Washington to lose that game, and it almost did.
Yes.
At just really bad luck on Washington's part. And so you look at this Washington team that is pretty much all offense and not a ton of defense, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They gave up almost Texas. The Texas gained almost 500 yards on the ground.
Yeah.
The complete opposite of what we saw in that first game. Michael Penix did his thing. The passing game accounted for 430 of the Huskies, 532 total yards of offense. Johnson's going to play Monday night. That's already been confirmed.
Right.
He's not the focus of the Washington offense, but he does play a substantial role, right? And if we think back, like, remember the 256 he put up against USC?
Yes.
Like, that was a thing that happened.
Yes.
And if he's not at 100% Monday night, that's a liability, especially against that Michigan defense. And a little aside here is, like, what's interesting about this whole thing is this. Kelly Krieg asked us on Threads after our respective bowl games whether the Big Ten was just bad this year.
Kelly saw the Penn State game in person, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, she what they went.
And my immediate response was like, yeah, I think so. Right? There are only 3 relevant teams nationally, and all 3 had coaching issues down the stretch. But what we have in the national title game this year, as AJ astutely pointed out, is a regular season conference game happening next year in October.
Yep.
I guess that just goes to show you how ridiculous this year is in college football. You look at this game on paper, Michigan wins. I don't know how the math adds up any other way. That Michigan defense is really, really good. I think Michigan's going to win the game in the trenches. I think the Michigan defense has the ability to pressure Penix. Is Washington still going to score points? Absolutely. They just find ways to do that, right? And then you wonder defensively whether Washington has an answer for Corum, especially when they gave up 180 ground yards to Texas, right? If Corum can get going, this all adds up to a Michigan win. But I feel like a broken record at this point.
Okay.
Washington can't lose. Even in the ridiculousness at the end of the Sugar Bowl, that remarkable defensive effort on the final play, they won the game. I'm picking with my heart instead of my head. Washington has been the team of destiny all year. They're going to figure out a way to win this game despite everybody as the Pac-12 goes out of business. Go win yourself a national title, Michael Penix and the Huskies.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome. It would be. Washington was so good against Texas, and Texas's reputation, particularly front seven, defensively, should have made a bigger difference than it was, but than it did. But the Huskies picked apart that defense all night. Underscores one thing that'll be a big deal on Monday night. While Texas is good, Michigan is great on defense, and the difference is the defensive backs. Texas is 94th. I did count that high down the list. In pass defense, Michigan is second. The windows, the tiny windows that Michael Penix was able to hit against Texas will be even tighter. Well, they'll be smaller if they're there at all on Monday night. On the other side of the ball, Washington is 41st in rushing defense. I think that Texas didn't. I know 28 attempts, 180 yards. That's by all accounts that's a respectable outing in terms of the rushing game. But they could have committed to that, and
yeah,
if they had, that is the absolute best tool. Best defensive tool against Michael Penix Jr. Don't let him get his hands on the football. And this is what Michigan does. They run the ball. They combine that with a good short passing game. I mentioned that in the last show. They hit their tight ends when they need a little shot like that, and then they take timely shots downfield. Um, and there is something to the whole team of destiny thing, and to a similar extent for this being the year of Michael Penix Jr. They were my tiebreaker pick for Bowlapalooza. And a title for Michigan opens some other doors. It makes the Big Ten look great in the short term. I'm all for that. The NCAA may have a say in the Wolverines 2023 season before it's all said and done. No matter how I look at this game, though, I come up with one thing. Michigan's defense is good enough to at least slow down Washington. Michigan's a better team. And this is me absolutely not picking with my heart, but picking with my head, and it's annoying as hell. But Michigan's going to win the game on Monday night. Is my pick. Boys and girls, you can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube or the show's Facebook page. You can read us and find links to everything else on our Substack. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business. Be sure to come back next year to see exactly how wrong we were, because one of us is wrong about this game that's coming up.
It's me. It's me.
I
agree. Like, Michigan's gonna win, but like, I am all in on Washington this year. Like, I can't root for Michigan. I'm sorry.
I can't either. And it's not, I won't be rooting for me. I will be wearing purple. And maybe there's one more miracle out there. I don't know. Washington does know how to win the odd. What was the score against their Arizona State win? It was like 17-10 or something like that, or maybe not even that much scoring.
Yeah.
But they've had a couple of games like that where and then they've had games like against Texas where you got to play down to the end of the thing to eke out a win. So they know how to do it.
They did that in 2 consecutive games because they did that in the Apple Cup too.
Yeah, you're right.
They had to kick the game-winning field goal there, and then they had to get that remarkable play at the end of the Sugar Bowl. So yeah.
It's they know how to win a close one, and if it's tight, I would be really tempted to change my pick, but yeah. We'll see how that goes. We have a bonus game. That is not the only college football this weekend. Monday, if we're counting Monday as a weekend, the FCS Championship, Division I FCS football at 2 p.m. on Saturday. I believe on ABC. Montana 13-1 versus South Dakota State 14-0. South Dakota State is favored by 13.5 points. On the AJ Fun Index is a not quite as fun 49.5. Is there any way that Montana can beat South Dakota State?
I mean, if I've learned anything from watching FCS football, it's never pick against a team that has the word Dakota in its name. There's
exactly.
There's a reason why 2 of the best coaches that we have seen in the FCS in the last couple of years have come from schools that include the word Dakota. We got Kansas State's head coach.
Yes.
Who else?
Where else do we come from? This is when we need AJ, because he would know this stuff.
This is when we need AJ, because I can see it in my brain and it's just not. But they're
not materializing.
Some of the hottest coaches in the FCS have come from, or FBS, excuse me, the FBS have come from a Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the story of Montana, though, the run that they've had this year, the way that the whole state is pulling together to get as many people as possible to Frisco for that game.
Yep.
That's a lot of fun. They're a fun fan base. I mean, the Grizzlies, they're just a fun fan base to watch, but yeah, don't pick against the Dakota.
I think you could fit the entire population of Montana in that stadium in Frisco, Texas. I might be my guess. Anyway, the answer to my question is probably almost certainly not. Montana is not going to win this game, but South Dakota State. As I said in the last show, watch it, guys. There's only 2 college football games left, unless you count the Senior Bowl, which I do. I am embarrassed to admit. But I will watch the All-Star games, and I will absolutely, maybe while I'm de-decorating the Christmas tree, I will absolutely watch the FCS Championship at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Carla, any final thoughts as we wrap up season number 12? 12?
Season number 12.
Season number 12.
Yeah, we're heading for unlucky 13.
We just skipped that.
I don't know what
14.
That kind of. Just call next season 14. Yeah, it's kind of the end of an era, and not for us, like not for the show, but like this this is a really big shift in the college football landscape that we're going to be, kind of easing ourselves into next year. And we got entirely new conferences, an entirely new playoff format that we're still not entirely sure how it works.
Right.
It's going to be really different next year. I think there'll be a lot of good things that happen out of it, but for some reason, like in the back of my mind, I'm like, we're going to have at least 2 summer shows this year. Like it's in my brain that like weird stuff's going to happen, and we're going to end up doing at least a couple of shows this summer. Heck, maybe I'll reach out and see if we can get Derek Mason on.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Because he's doing media interviews like crazy right now.
Sweet.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to next year and how all this realignment shakes out. Watching SEC and Big Ten is going to be really interesting. What happens with the ACC in the off season?
Right.
Just lots to keep your eyes on, even if there aren't games. I think we're going to see a lot of news. And I mean, that's not even talking about everything that's going on with the potential, like paying players and NIL and lawsuits and Supreme Court and all that kind of fun stuff. Like there's just a lot of stuff happening. It's going to be a busy news summer, I think, for the sport of college football. So, yeah, we'll see where we are when we get to the fall.
It'll be interesting. So much has changed just already. As you noticed during bowl season, we kept talking about players who are in the portal, players who are just sitting out because they're going to go to the NFL. It almost feels like the bowl games, the playoff notwithstanding, it almost feels like the bowl games had more to do with next year than this past season, because in so many instances, so much stuff has changed that it's like, okay, this is Ohio State. Okay, what's going to happen at quarterback now that McCord is gone, and now that Devin Brown is hurt? Okay, well, we've got this guy, and then you find out later, of course, that other things are going to happen. But it almost feels like that's like the first game of 2024. Get a look at how that's going to go. I don't know. It's
like the early spring game almost.
Yeah, kind of. So that's an interesting thing. I have some people I want to thank. And as we wrap this up, I want to thank Jake, Gabby, Braden, Kelly, and Avocado for their help with Bowlapalooza again this year. This one was by far the most chaotic that we've had and the most fun. I gotta thank AJ for his knowledge and his passion, both of which are always on display in his weekly contributions and the other stuff that we do with him. I should thank David Fox and Kelly Garrett for always making room for us to do the show with, in my house, minimal complaining. Not always without complaining, but just a little bit. Carla, absolutely, for your unwavering dedication to the show, and not even hesitating when we said, okay, season 13, let's go. Even when life as a professor and a toddler mom gets crazy. And of course, I want to thank you guys, our tens of listeners, readers, and viewers. We appreciate you being here for this week and every week during the season. You never know for sure, but there are no apparent reasons why we wouldn't do this again next year. So, Carla, I guess we'll see everybody then.
We're having too much fun. Why stop now?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree. I agree. So,
our
guys,
podcast is a teenager.
Oh my God. We have to start like looking for colleges. Where's our podcast going to go to school? And can we get a ride somewhere?
Podcast is all grown up.
No, it's so cute. Look at that podcast. Guys, thank you once again for reading, for listening, for watching, for all of the things. It's been a marvelous, bizarre season, and we may even be able to top that next year. So, to check with us in the summertime. Going to be stuff happening. I'm almost positive, and then we'll be back with the weekly shows in the fall. All right. Cheers to you guys, Carla. Cheers to you. And cheers. We'll enjoy the last two games, boys and girls, and we'll see you back here sometime later in 2024. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, people.